Greetings to all. Welcome to CEC lecture. Welcome to the special session at CEC, Pratikatmak Abhivyakti. And with me is Sonia Sharma ji. In the lecture, we shall be discussing the topic of globalization. We shall try to understand the concept, look into the causes and consequences of globalization. In this lecture, we have division of 3 parts. We have divided the lecture into 3 parts. In the first part, we will discuss various definitions of the concept of globalization. In the second part, we shall analyze causes of globalization. In the third part, we shall discuss consequences of globalization. So let us begin the lecture. Part 1. Understanding the term globalization. For that, we will take reference to important definitions presented by theorists, social scientists who have done research in the area of globalization. Globalization, according to Albro, it refers to all those processes by which the peoples of the world are incorporated into a single world society, the global society. So, if we understand this definition by Albro, that is, its globalization signifies various processes. The various processes by which people are incorporated as a global society. Another interesting definition of the term globalization comes from the work of Friedman. Friedman defines globalization as inexorable integration of markets, nation states and technologies to a degree never witnessed before, in a way that is enabling individuals, corporations and nation states to reach around the world farther, faster, deeper and cheaper than ever before. This definition by Friedman gives us an idea that how, because of process of globalization, the world is getting connected faster, deeper and cheaper than ever before. Another interesting definition of the term globalization comes from the work of R. Robertson. R. Robertson defines globalization as compression of the world and intensification, increasing of consciousness of the world. Further, another interesting definition of the term globalization is from the work of Manfred Steger. That is, globalization, according to Manfred Steger, has become one of the defining buzzwords of our time. A term that describes a variety of accelerating economic, political, cultural, ideological, environmental processes that are rapidly altering our experiences of the world. Interesting perspective comes from the work of Kenichi Ome, that is, in his groundbreaking bestseller book, that is, The Borderless World. Ome coined the term globalization and described the ways in which international business was bypassing national borders. So, therefore, as we try to understand the concept of globalization, we get diverse opinion. There is diversity of research inputs with reference to globalization. An important perspective again comes from the work of Jean Artskold, international relations scholar, Globalization, a Critical Introduction. This is the name of the book. Now, what does this book talk about? That is important perspectives, internationalization, liberalization, universalization or westernization. That is, globalization therefore then with internationalization, liberalization, universalization or westernization, it is more advanced and complex stage in the process of economic internationalization. I repeat, advanced stage in the process of economic internationalization. Another important work is that of Harvey, and according to Harvey, globalization, it is compression of social, time, space through economic activity that is driving force behind globalization. Further, as we are discussing various perspectives, definitions for the concept of globalization, the work of David Held, the very famous political scientist, suggested that globalization has 4 dimensions, spatio-temporal dimensions, and there are 4 aspects in it. What are the 4 aspects? Extensity, intensity, velocity and impact. So, therefore, let us understand extensity, intensity, velocity, impact. According to Held, extensity of these processes which stretch across space, intensity of the processes, velocity of them, impact of their activities. So, therefore, globalization is a highly contested concept. There are various opinions about the concept of globalization. Further, globalization is not new. It has always existed in human history. But in the present time, because of technological advancements, communication revolution, globalization is an important concept now. Let's move towards the second part of our lecture. In this lecture, we will discuss causes of globalization. So, the important question of discussion is, what are the causes of globalization? Now, we all know economies of most countries are dependent on each other. Economies of countries are also interconnected. So, therefore, one witnesses rise of interdependent global economy. With this, in the post-Cold War period, with the progress of technology, rise of communication revolution, cost of transport, of travel, cost of communicating information have fallen in post-Cold War period. And an important issue here is the progress of technology. So, therefore, when we discuss causes of globalization in the present day times, improved communication, availability of cheap, rapid and reliable communications, all of them have led to an important outcome, that is integration of markets. Now, with integration of markets, there is rise of interdependence, there is rise of global economy, and all of it is important for globalization. Another important cause of globalization is improved transport. Today, there is rapid development in means of transport. Goods can be easily transferred from one place to another. Further, with no new innovations, connectivity, all of them become important factors in easy movement of goods and services. Another important cause of globalization is rise of free trade agreements, as well as important role played by World Trade Organization as an anchor of world economy. Herein, one finds that WTO works as an important forum for negotiation of trade disputes. With rise of free trade agreements, there is an important movement towards the world marked by interdependence. As we understand causes of globalization, the role of rise of global trade and finance also demands analysis. We all know how capital flows freely and instantly throughout the world. With free flow of capital throughout the world, the apparatus of global trade and finance plays an important role as a cause of globalization. As we discuss causes of globalization, an important cause has been growth of multinational companies. Multinational companies, they offer advantages of jobs, revenue creation, development, FDI to the host country, as well as advantages of profit to the home country. So, in this case, growth of MNCs and transnational corporations has played an important role to further globalization. We now go towards the third and the final part of our lecture. In this part, we shall discuss consequences of globalization. As we just discussed, FDI, foreign direct investment, brings the best technology. Rise of multinational companies leads to jobs, revenue creation. It influences the distribution of income. But however, we cannot ignore debates over internationalization versus homogenization. There is a debate that with the rise of internationalization due to the process of globalization, countries are becoming homogeneous with respect to their language, culture, economic models, etc. Further, with globalization, there is rise of non-state actors. Today, international organizations, MNCs, WTO, all of them play an important role. There is a debate in this scenario, over the importance of nation state. Further, as we are discussing consequences of globalization, an important structural consequence which is argued, that is, the rich countries gain at the expense of the poor countries. That is to say, North benefits itself at the expense of the South by imposing import restrictions like non-tariff barriers, agricultural subsidies, amongst others. Further, as we discuss consequences of globalization, one has to see that it has had differential impact on demographics. It has led to different impact on different types of people. At one point of time, high skilled professionals have a relatively high degree of mobility as compared to less skilled ones. That is, capital is mobile, but labor is not. Another issue is that of damage to the environment. With rise of big firms, big industries, there is an impact on environment. When we hear about climate change, global warming, loss of biodiversity, ecological disruption, all of it is related to rapid industrialization, rise of big industries, pollution, because of which environment suffered a lot. Because of globalization, there are changes in the food supply also. This is why, due to the issue of exploitation of resources, impact on the environment, imposition of outside standards, globalization has been challenged by local communities also. So therefore, dear learners, in this lecture, we tried to present before you important definitions related to the topic of globalization, the causes of globalization and consequences of globalization. We look forward to positive feedback from you all. We hope that the lecture was useful for everyone. Thank you very much.